into the butcher. I guess in Portland there's some butchers around. You ask for those real prime cuts of meat, the really nice, tasty, juicy, beautiful ones. And this morning is that selection from the Proverbs. Here's why. The book of Proverbs is ordered this way. Chapters 1 to 9 are a series of lectures from a father to a son, and then also 4 kind of poems from Lady Wisdom. That takes up chapters 1 to 9 of the book of Proverbs. 10 to 29 is kind of a randomized collection of sayings, all those chapters, and there's not a real consistent flow or rhyme or reason to how they're ordered. And so what we've done each week is in the last, I think, 4 weeks, is we've taken some kind of large chunks and themes around work, around words, the way we communicate, and said, what are all the Proverbs on these topics? And so we're gonna wrap up this section from 10 to 29 today, because the last little bit here, I didn't really see a major heading. They're on repeat. There's a lot of different Proverbs for each of these little sections, but there wasn't like one whole section. So you kind of get the last little bits and pieces, and in that way, it's most like reading an actual chapter of the Proverbs. You're going to get a lot of different stuff today around some different topics. So in my mind, as I sat down, I just read through 10 to 29. I just pulled these Proverbs out to say, I don't know where I would place these, but they're really amazing. They're really beautiful. So that's what we're going to do today. Today is the choice cut. So the heading I have for this first one is just good advice, just practical good advice. And we're going to start with Proverbs 20:21, which says this: an inheritance gained hastily in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. I actually do not like this one at all. The lottery, I just got a Gatorade before service. I was a little bit thirsty, and I walked down there and they got that little sign, Powerball's at $307 million. And wouldn't it be nice? You ever played this game? Oh man, wouldn't it be nice? 307. Well, you take taxes out, that's like half, it's 150 mil. I'll still take it, it's fine. The lottery is not going to solve your problems, unfortunately. It's not going to make you into a person that can even handle that sum of money. You dealing with your problems is going to solve your problems. And that's not a real fun proverb to think about. It's much more fun to go, man, if I just had this large chunk of cash, then everything would be great and beautiful. That's when my life would get good. And wisdom says, what you are doing now will determine how your future is. The way is through. The way is through. It's not jumping over. It's not skipping. It's not around. It's not neglecting. The way is through. You don't get to skip the hard parts. It's walking through and doing the hard work right now. That is the path to peace. That is the path actually to a good inheritance through your difficulties. It actually takes a little getting used to in a quick fix society. It takes a little getting used to it. It's not really a fun thought where you can just get what you want when you want it right now. That's not a fun idea. And so there's this need to develop a taste for good pain. Getting stronger type pain. Working through it. Not deferring your hopes and your dreams for later, but working through the current moment. Good practical advice. Nothing to do with that one. Here's the next one. Wine is a mocker, a strong drink, a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. Very simple, straightforward. Wine leads to mocking and brawling. It's pretty simple. The one I really like on this topic is Proverbs 23:29. It's a little larger, but and I reference this actually in the first sermon, because there are moments in the Proverbs where you get these little riddles where they start asking questions like, oh, what's the answer to this riddle? So just listen to this one. You can follow along, but even pay attention to how it makes you feel, because I actually think it's designed to actually make you feel a certain way. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaining? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eyes? Those who tarry long over wine, those who go to try mixed wine. Do not look at wine when it's red, when it sparkles in the cup and it goes down smoothly. In the end, it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. Your eyes will see strange things, and your heart will utter perverse things. You will be like one who lies down in the midst of the sea, like one who lies on top of a mast. They struck me, you will say, but I was not hurt. They beat me, but I did not feel it. When shall I wake? I must have another drink. It actually gives you the feeling of being drunk. Not that I would know. But it gives you that feeling, right, of this wobbly and like in and out and what's happening, and I don't know where I'm at. Am I awake? I'm awake. I feel terrible. I feel like I've been beat up, but have I? I don't know. Where's another drink? It's just this foolishness. The little morsel in this for me, who has wounds without cause? Who has, oh man, how terrible is that? To think that you're wounded, but there's no cause for your wounds. There's just a real foolishness to letting wine, to letting alcohol take control of your life. The proof is in the pudding. It is a dangerous thing, so be careful with it. Be careful with it. Don't suffer unnecessarily. Again, moving on to the next one, has nothing to do with that one. For what your eyes have seen, do not hastily bring into court. For what you will do in the end, when your neighbor puts you to shame, what will you do in the end when your neighbor puts you to shame? Argue your case with your neighbor himself. This actually gets hit a couple times. There's a couple other proverbs I'm not going to put up there. But the idea is settle your business out of court. There's something really, really wise. There's way less stress to be able to talk it out and come to a compromise or an agreement. Settle yourself, get control of your temper, talk to the person themselves. Save your time, save your money, save your energy, and deal with people one-on-one. Don't be hasty to bring it into court. There's actually wisdom from Scripture that says just go deal with it. My wife is amazing at this. I follow her lead. Just this, there's been a couple jams that she's gotten us out of because she's like, let's just go talk to these people. Let's just go talk to our neighbors. Let's go talk. Let's just figure this out. We can do this. You can do this. You can figure it out. Don't bring the mess into court. Be about that good community neighborhood life. Settle your business outside of court. 24:17 says this, completely different. Do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles. It's easy to let someone else's pain bring you joy. Say, oh yeah, at least I'm not that bad. At least that's not happening to me. Even when it's your enemy. And there's wisdom in saying, no, that's not a fountain to go drink from. That's not a fountain to go make yourself feel better. That's actually just a poisoned well. You feel your heart welling up when something's going bad for someone that maybe you have some friction with. Just turn the other way. Let that thing pass. Don't take joy from that, wisdom says. Don't rejoice. 25:17. I thought this one was fascinating. Let your foot be seldom in your neighbor's house, lest he have fill of you and hate you. Basically, I love some of you guys are laughing harder than others. Basically, have some self-awareness about how long you're spending time in other people's house. It's good to have on the radar. I kind of balance this out because we're not really a communal society. So I would say, hey, you should be spending a lot of time with your neighbors. Like, if you're in your neighborhood and you haven't met your neighbors and it's been 7 years, then maybe it's time to meet your neighbors. I don't think we always err on this side, but there is a good bit, especially in Christian community, just to be aware, to have this self-awareness. My father-in-law, he says this. It's some saying, I'm going to botch it, but it's something like, fish and company go bad after 3 days. Have you heard that one? Where it's just like, hey, after 3 days, this is just getting long, right? Your family, your friends, whatever it is, this is getting rotten. So let's pack it up. Be sensitive of other people's space. I think in a church where there is a push to be in community, and I need community, I have to have community, to be sensitive. If there's people that are hosting home groups, that takes work. To clean your house every week, to host, to have a meal, be sensitive. Just do little things. Pitch in, help with the dishes, say thank you. Don't stay till 2 a.m. talking. Unless you really need to, then yes, do it. There's those nights where it's like, yeah, you got to, but not every single night. Just be sensitive. Be on the lookout. You want to keep your friends as your friends. It's beautiful. All right. 25:21 says this, if your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink, for you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. Counterintuitive. Everything in your nature says blast, take revenge on your enemy. And there's wisdom in saying, you know what? Give them something to eat. Be kind to them, and that's going to make them even more angry. Not that you want to make them more angry, but just there's this counterintuitive engagement with enemies that actually ends up diffusing a lot. Because a lot of times the actual issue isn't the issue. There's something else going on. And so a little bit of kindness can diffuse this top part so we can get to the bottom part. Be kind, be sensitive, even when you're in friction. Make allowances for others. 27:1, I always feel like this is the classic proverb right here. Don't boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. There is this focus of saying, be present, be in this moment today, wherever you're at. Be grateful. Be grateful, be thankful. That's a great way to be present and to not get far out, is just to be grateful for the day. 28:13, I thought this was beautiful. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. This is why we confess every day, every Sunday. It's a great invitation to let go of your sin, of your pain, that there's no need to hide it, that the sooner it's out, the sooner you will find mercy and prosperity. Clinging to your sin, clinging to those things will only rob you. Right? It's so counterintuitive. Again, it's this beautiful invitation. Clinging and holding, it's not going to help. When you let go, honestly, this morning my heart was overwhelmed with gratitude for Chris and Adam and the sensitivity at which they enter into worship and trying to create space where we really can let go of those heavy things and claim Christ over us in this space and say, let's be renewed, our hearts and minds and our spirits, let's be renewed in Christ. Let it go. Don't conceal it. 26 says it a little bit harsher. Like a dog that returns to his vomit is a fool who repeats his folly. I had a friend, a dorm mate, across the hallway. When I read this is immediately what I thought. It was probably my junior year of college. He had a big desktop computer, and that was just printed out over the top and taped to his computer screen. Like a dog that returns to his vomit is a fool who repeats his folly. He was struggling at the computer, looking at things, finding things, middle of the night. And so he said, I'm posting this thing right here. This is vomit. I don't want to return to this. It's a great little visual imagery to see it. Proverbs saying there's wisdom saying, be abhorred, be disgusted at this. Don't go back to it. 13:13 says this, whoever despises the word brings destruction on himself, but he who reveres the commandment will be rewarded. I like this one. Don't despise Scripture. Read, study, ask, wrestle, ask the question again, but don't let your heart despise the commandment. As you revere it, there is goodness, there is reward. And it's difficult. Hold the word in a place of honor. Even though it's difficult and there's things you don't understand, it's an invitation to wrestle, to move further into it. Don't despise it. This next little section we're going to move to, and actually there's a large section, it's on being poor. Receiving end, being poor, or how you treat the poor even. Kind of a two-sided piece here, topic. 1823 says this. I've thought about this one for about 4 weeks. So I invite you to reflect on this one as well. This is my take. This is my opinion, what I think it's saying. The poor use entreaties, but the rich answer roughly. I think this is what it's saying. My take. Being principled in your responses and decision making is wise. Being principled in your response and your decision-making is wise. Principled means acting in accordance with morality or a system of thought. Leave emotion out of it. It can be easy to get sucked into endeavors or responses on the basis of emotion, but wisdom and wealth say act on principle. Know the reason as to why you are doing what you're doing. I think my son is learning this one. He's 5. He's not whining as much when he wants to watch a show, which that used to be the go-to. Can I watch a show? I haven't watched a show. That's a quick way for, no, we're getting outside. We're going to go run laps. He's wising up. He's smart. It's dangerous. Dad comes up to me. Hey, think we could have a family movie night tonight? And I'm just like, yeah, you know what, that sounds, hey. Right? He's like, hey, this emotional pleading, it doesn't get a lot of places. Let's act on principle. Dad likes family night. He's heard him talk about it a lot. That's the way to the show. Act on principle. There's a system there. Recognize it. You'll get what you want. People with means often are acting on principle, not just emotion. They are not afraid to answer roughly to protect the principle, and even offend some emotion or to leave emotion out of what they do to get done what they need to do. Now, lest we stereotype the poor as overly emotional and lacking principles, 21:13 says this: whoever closes his ear to the cry of the poor will himself call out and not be answered. It's not an invitation to neglect those who are in need. 28:27 doubles down, says, whoever gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes will get many a curse. 13:23, I think, hammers it. The fallow ground of the poor would yield much food, but it is swept away through injustice. A universal historical recognition that the poor often have the means for abundance. The fallow ground is this, like there's an abundance, there's a richness. Crops would be produced. It's a fertile land that's producing, but it is swept away through injustice, oftentimes of the wealthy. This is on repeat in the Proverbs. They are treated unfairly because they are poor, and so they are kept down. There is such a thing as systemic injustice. It's not pretend. So over and over again, it's fascinating when you look at a good ruler. A good ruler is someone who treats the poor fairly, who understands and serves the poor fairly. 29:7 says this. I love this one. It's one of my favorites. A righteous man knows the rights of the poor. A wicked man does not understand such knowledge. Scoffers set a city aflame, but the wise turn away wrath. Here it is. A righteous man, one who knows what is healthy relationship with God, family, community, neighbors. A righteous man is someone who is in healthy relationship with the world and with God and with himself. He knows that the poor have rights. A wicked man doesn't understand it and won't get it. Righteousness, goodness, a good man knows that the poor have rights. The wicked man won't understand this. The wicked won't even consider this. He just assumes that poor people are lazy or lower than him. He doesn't consider that there could be other factors involved in being poor. Historical factors, economic, social, that create and cause poverty. A righteous man considers this and helps. He considers the rights of the poor. Hey, Proverbs, you getting political on us here? Come on now. This is what I love. The second part of this, look at the second part. I think I just want to dissect this one for a minute. Scoffers, so they finish that right there, and then immediately goes into scoffers set a city aflame, but the wise turn away wrath. I love this nuance, this wisdom. Do the poor deserve help? Yes. Is it wise to riot? No. So then let's meet in the middle somewhere. Let's not just polarize and justify why the poor shouldn't receive help. And let's not justify rioting. I think Proverbs is taking us to this radical middle. Not to left, not to right, not to red, not to blue, saying the poor have rights and you shouldn't go rioting. There's wisdom in turning away wrath and not setting the city aflame. Which there are arguments and justifications why that's okay, and why it's okay to not give the poor what is due. And Proverbs is saying, hey, wisdom dwells in the middle, not in these polarized camps. All right, enough politics right there. Ooh, getting a little close right there. 21:3 says this, to do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Not just righteousness, not just justice. Righteousness and justice. We have that one up? The next one? It's not on there. God loves righteousness and justice more than he loves sacrifice. More than church going, song singing. He loves when your life is about righteousness and justice. The next part is really just two. And the title I had is The Good Wife, because that's not a reference to the show. Well, maybe it's a kind of reference. I've never watched the show, so I don't know if it has anything to do with it. I think it's about a lawyer. But there are, over and over, there are a lot of proverbs about a good wife. And so here's a few of those proverbs. 19:14. House and wealth are inherited from fathers, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Better than riches, better than wealth, better than a large inheritance is good relationship with your spouse. Happiness will not be bought. Good relationship brings happiness. A relationship that is cultivated, paid attention to, the same way you tend to a garden. This brings happiness and joy. 21:9 says this, it's better to live in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a quarrelsome wife. Trying to be funny, real funny Proverbs. This guy huddled on the corner of the roof. I don't know, I picture him just up there on the corner with a little camp stove. I don't know what he's doing up there. But he said, you know what, I'd rather be up here. Rather be up here at peace. This is tame. There's a lot more on that topic. It's like better to live in a desert, better to live anywhere than to be constantly fighting, to be in constant fighting mode. It will beat you down. So let up. Ease up. This is not just for women. Men too, lest we just categorize and go, oh, men aren't quarrelsome. Yeah, right. 17:1 says this, better a dry morsel with quiet than a house full of feasting with strife. To me, it's this Groundhog's Day nightmare to always, every day, be quarreling. It's better to eat stale bread. Better to eat stale, like 4-week-old bread and be at peace than to have tons of food and a feast and to be in strife. It's no bueno. So stop, ask yourself, what is this quarreling producing? Start to ask, what can change? Are you always rash in your responses to your spouse? It will wear you out. It will wear both of you out. So just stop quarreling. If you're hyper-focused on something, just give it a break. Stop, rest, come back to it. See a counselor. See a counselor. See a counselor. See a counselor. I'm amazed that there's still stigma around seeing a counselor. I see a counselor. The first time I saw a counselor, they said, that's going to be $100. I said, I'll give you $1,500. That's how helpful it was. However much you need, because this is great. Get help. It's fine. It's okay to get some help. Get a counselor. If you want to say, oh, they're just a referee, fine, they're a referee, whatever it is. It's okay to get some help. Stop quarreling. Start to ask different questions. Get some help. Stop quarreling. Picture the guy on the roof with his little camp stove. Do whatever you have to do. 1911, helping you here. Good sense makes one slow to anger. Good sense makes one slow. You want to be wise? Be slow to anger. I love this one. It's a glory to overlook an offense. You want to know what's glorious? Sunsets are glorious. The Grand Canyon is glorious. The ocean is glorious. God is glorious, and God overlooks offenses. It's okay to overlook it. It's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's okay to forgive this one. It's glorious when you let it go. Not move away, not let it go and move away, but forgive and continue to move towards the other person. This is getting close to who Jesus is in his glory. Be glorious. Surprise everyone. Overlook an offense. I'm sorry, I had to get this meme. This one just came to mind. Doesn't tie in great. Memes. Bill's on the internet. Bill sees something that offends him. Bill moves on. Bill's smart. Be like Bill. It's glorious. Overlook the offense. We live in a world of just being offended constantly. It's okay. Let it go. Be about some good. All right, you can take the meme down. I'm a little embarrassed now that I even put that up. We'll finish here. No, we got two more sections. Discipline. Have you found honey? Eat only as much as you need, lest you be filled with it and vomit. I know that was super helpful for you. We got a lot of honey foragers in our church, and you're welcome. You're welcome for that. Today when you go, this actually was a thing. Like you go forage, and you'd be hiking, and you'd stumble upon wild honey, and it was like seeing this candy shop that was just open. Huge treat. Like, oh, look at this. Like, this is all this goodness right here, and then you just stuff your face. And then you vomit. It's like hitting the jackpot. The temptation is devour it all. I think the wisdom is saying this: eat, enjoy, only as much as you need. That means how much you need physically, not how much you need emotionally. Like, it's okay to stop. Stop eating, lest the whole generous discovery be wasted in the rash quest for pleasure. Right? This is easy. I think I would probably relate this more to, like, the obvious one is binge watching. Like, we actually named it binge watching. Like, that's a cultural name of, like, I'm going to watch 15 hours and it's so good. And at the end you're like, I'm depressed. I haven't seen the light of day. One more. Middle of the night. Do you want to enjoy it? Watch one a day. Then you're like, oh, this is like a little treat today. I get this one. This is a little self-control. 27:7 on that theme says, one who is full loathes honey, but to one who is hungry, everything bitter is sweet. Right? There's just this wisdom of going, like, you can stuff yourself, you can binge, you're just like, nothing tastes good anymore. Or just a little at a time. Take it easy. And even things that aren't that great, little bitter, you're like, wow, that's not bad. Life becomes good. Give some self-control. Just pace yourself. Have a cheat day. Things will taste better. Delayed gratification is real. 25:28 says this, getting a little more serious. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. This would be really serious in the ancient world. The wall gave you security, safety, guarded you from invaders, protected what you had, gave you the ability to monitor who was coming in and coming out. The wall around your life is self-control, and with no self-control, all of that is gone. It's open season on your life. You're at the mercy of someone else. So there's great wisdom in having some self-control. increasing your safety, your security, having a better control of your life is just that, working on some self-control. This one doesn't seem like it's discipline, but it is. 11:22. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman without discretion. Also one of these gems from the Proverbs. Just use your imagination for a second. Imagine a pig. Now imagine a gold nose ring right in that little sweaty, nasty, slimy nose. It's not pretty. So it is with beauty that lacks discretion. It's ugly. Beauty is of no use without self-control. Show some discretion. 29:15 on discipline says this, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. I'm not going to get into a huge thing on how to discipline your children. The next one says this, discipline your son and he will give you rest. He will give delight to your heart. Fences for children, boundaries give a sense of protection and love. And so it's good to have discipline and boundaries for your children. It's actually a loving thing to do, to intentionally guide them and give them direction. Left to themselves, it will not go well. Sometimes it feels like, oh, you just do whatever you want. It's not going to go well. Be attentive to your kids. Pay attention to what they respond to and discipline accordingly. I know in our house, that's how it was growing up, is that each kid had a different way. Like for some of us, it was like you could just look at your kid and that was enough. Show some disappointment and that could just crush them. And you'd need to like go and mend and say, hey, I'm not mad at you forever, but sometimes that's all a kid needs is a look. Or sometimes it's just a little time out. Be attentive to how your kid responds and discipline accordingly. Pay attention to their little personalities. Love them. Be quick to restore relationship, but guide them. They need appropriate boundaries. Be purposeful in guiding them. One of the most helpful things that I think my dad ever did for me along this line is that he talked to me like an adult from a very young age. We didn't have the kids' table at our house. All the kids were at the adult table, and we got talked to like adults. And we were expected to be acting like adults as well, and that requires a certain amount of discipline. But it's amazing you feel welcomed in and a part of things, not separate, not lesser than. It's good to give guidance. This is where we'll finish. We'll finish on this helping. A couple Proverbs on helping. 18:24 says this, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Don't underestimate one good friend. Don't underestimate one good friend. A lot of friends and acquaintances doesn't equal safety and security. But one good friend can keep you from ruin. One good friend. I think for me, it's a call. Some of you have been that friend to me. And it's a call to be that kind of a friend to each other. You don't got to be a friend to everybody. Be a good friend to one person. There are different seasons when we all need help in different ways. And it's nice to even just have one advocate, one friend who keeps at it, who keeps checking in, who doesn't let up. It can change a life. I don't know, I'm just sensitive to this one right now. Do you need to be that friend to someone? Is there someone in your life that God's saying, hey, I want you to be a friend to that person? Even maybe though it's a little hard, I'm calling you to be that friend that's closer than a brother. 27:9 says, oil and perfume make a glad heart. The sweetness of a friend comes from his earnest counsel. There's this idea of a friend who's there with some good word, with some good counsel. It's just that good. It's oil, it's perfume, it's the best things. It's the cream of the crop. It's the frosting on life is a good friend and their counsel. The classic every men's ministry that's ever been. 27:17, iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. It's true that something about life together intentionally makes you better, makes you sharper, makes you clear. Earnest counsel towards one another does that. It's a gift. I wasn't planning on it, but this is the one I want to end on, 24:11. If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. Rescue those who are being taken away to death. Hold back those who are stumbling to the slaughter. I like this one. It's a little pump-up song. A lot of the Proverbs is subversive, and you got to kind of go, I wonder what that means. Let me take a minute. Not with this one. When the day comes, when the trial comes, when the pain comes, when the confusion comes, when the heartache comes, when the injustice comes, when the adversity comes, don't faint. Hit it. It's an admonishment to find your strength, to dig deep and find strength. It's okay to not have small strength. It's okay to have big strength. It's good. Adversity is coming away. This is why I love with the men's group right now, or the men's forums, we're on resilience. It's going to happen. Hard stuff is going to happen, and it's okay to be strong. And I'm talking about physically and emotionally and spiritually strong, not just one. I'm talking about all of them. It's a call to say, hey, it's good. Be about this rescuing business. Rescue those who are being taken away to death. Hold back those who are stumbling. Be about that good life. Protect life. The evil one, very simply, comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And so don't be about killing, stealing, and destroying. Guard, defend, give life to those who are in need. If you're called to serve, this is a great proverb. Get after it. Whether it's physically or mentally, through policy, nonprofit work, at work, it's a call to be strong. It's okay to be strong. Be strong. Christ has done this. Christ has been strong for us. He displayed it in his weakness, but unbelievable strength. Say, you can take my life. Strong enough to give his life away to rescue those who were stumbling in the dark. He has rescued us, and he can rescue you if you feel like you're being taken away to death. He says, no, I'm going to hold you back. By his very life, he says, here, I lay my life down so you can have it. This is why I love the table, and this is why I love where we finish. He says, here's my body, here's my blood. Is there anything else? Here's my body and here's my blood for you. The life that I lived unto God for you. The life that I lived unto God is now your very life. You can have this life. I give you myself. Take me. And he holds us back from death and darkness and stumbling. He says, I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to wash it away. Take my very life. And may it save you and restore you, and may it make you clean and new. He's laid his life down for you. Come and receive it this morning. With a glad, joyful, worshiping heart, God has laid down his life for you. You don't feel like you can do the Proverbs and be wise? It's okay. He says, I've lived this life, and I'm going to give you my life. Let go of this other stuff. I'm going to give you myself. This is what it is to know Jesus. To know that your wisdom and your strength comes from receiving his life. So come. Turn and repent. And receive his life. Let's pray. God, I know that you chose what is foolish to the world to shame the wise, and that is your Son. That is you, Jesus. We know that wisdom and life is found in you. some of these principles and truths and proverbs are good for our hearts, and some of them are hard, and we won't measure up, but we find them completed and fulfilled in you, and so we come now to receive your life. We come to worship you.